Thanks for joining us on the afternoon edition here on ASO TV. My name is Joy Radimini Asonye. Here we take you beyond the headlines, discussing relevant issues that affect you. Ahead of the 2023 general elections, there are lots of intrigues, and as you must have noticed, so many people are joining the race. Wike has declared and says that the PDP will lose come 2023 if he is not given the ticket. We also have a political analyst that will be discussing the zoning, how effective it is in our democratic journey in Nigeria, and if we should strike it out completely. Again, I have Alamboye, Comrade Duke Alamboye in the studio to do justice to our current affair segment. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you very much, Joy, for having me today.
Yes, we'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll delve into the issues at hand. Stay with us.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite. This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television Star Times Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, and UHF Channel 38.
Thank you so much for staying with us, Comrade Duke Alamboye. Well, ahead of the 2023 general elections, PDP would lose presidency without me, Wike has declared. Do you think he has that influence?
Well, I think it's laughable, but we shouldn't undermine these statements when they come out. We've seen he's one of the governors that have masqueraded himself like the dawn of Nigerian politics, and at every
PDP
point
politics
of Nigerian politics. He kept saying of Nigerian politics, and in his divide, the PDP. Perhaps one would have been thinking, maybe this is the man that financed the party, and if that is the case, then what he's saying can come up. We should take his words very serious. These things sometimes are very mischievous in nature, and you think that they are nothing to go by. It's laughable, when we see our governor. Fortunately, it's also my very unfortunate anyway. Is my governor, and we see him say a lot of things and demand the so much accrued respect to the position that seat, exalted seat of a governor. It was even shocking when he declared he was going to run for presidency, having said in some occasions that he cannot be lured the way they lured his brothers when he mentioned the Honorable Minister for Transport and then the past governor of Rivers State, that's Peter Odili, citing them that the federal politics deceived them into where they are today, that is never going to get close. And this is the same man that had come out to say wants to become Nigeria president.
First you have
and
said,
owning to the fact that it's like
you
PDP.
have said we shouldn't undermine him. So do you think he has that much clout or influence
when I say
over
we shouldn't undermine him,
Nigerians?
I said that at the aspect of aspect of being mischievous. They are people that have introduced lots of vices in the political system, and I think they want to bring this to.
I would rather you don't make those allegations, especially because
I'm from
not
River
going
State.
to
I
give
can make
us
those allegations with facts on my table. Yes, I'm saying this with all form of authority. I don't forget I've run elections in River State. I'm very close to the powers that dictate, that also form the political class in my state. So I'm not saying this out of speculation. I'm very, very much involved, and we know what happens. However, this cannot be obtained in the national
Let's
stage.
put aside your alleged mischief. Do you think he has that influence on the entire Nigeria?
I'm not.
Because we have seen him also go from one place to the other in consultation, trying his best to garner that support. And if he has indeed the PDP, that much influence in the PDP, you're right. We probably should take it very seriously.
We are not talking about influence here. And the way he is doing this consultation, every other aspirant to be president, they are also doing their consultation. And you can see the cool-headed manner at which they are approaching persons that could influence the primaries. So that should be the dictate. That should be the pace. Not when you own up a whole political party and say, without you in that political system, they cannot clinch the presidential ticket and all of that. We have big players in the PDP. The articles, we have so many of them, the big players that are running with him. So he cannot come to the public space and begin to say, without him, that is in River State. We're talking about national politics. If he had held onto the political glance of River State PDP, that is all for him. But at national level, we should mind the way we take this campaigns and the consultations, so that it does not look seemingly that the PDP is now a one-man political party.
Okay, well,
so I think that's a language not to reckon with. We condemn that at the atmosphere of politics.
Is it because he is very sure of himself? You don't think politicians
What are the surety? The party we're talking about, they've not even have dates. They're only selling forms. They are still struggling on how to say which zone takes over the presidential ticket. They are even struggling to see how they survive on that. So what can a man...
Before we leave this story, I would like to talk about the antecedents. So a lot of people have figured him as Mr. Project, or the governor that has the most projects in Nigeria. Is that not enough to appeal to Nigerians to say, oh, if he can do these many bridges and these many roads, or all the infrastructures he has done in Rivers State, it's enough?
Infrastructure in Rivers State. Of course, we agree. He has built I think is the governor that has built so much, the highest number of bridges in the country, if maybe not West Africa. We agree, but what impact has that been? Everywhere he has built, I'm not here to discuss Wike, but I think what that statement is putting is too ambiguous for Nigeria, even too ambiguous for his party, the party it belongs to. Most especially that the party is even struggling to put itself together. This is so degrading and shouldn't be put into this thing. Okay. Wike's achievement in our state, we don't really want to talk about that. When you go down to the state and see those developments you're talking for.
Okay, let's move ahead as you have suggested. Senator Chris Ngige, Minister of Labour and Employment, has also declared to run for presidency among about 39 right now in various political parties that have declared or purchased forms, actually, that in some cases, that's in political parties where forms are available. They've also declared to run. Do you believe that all our politicians should, is that the kind of politics we need? And have our democracy gotten to a point where it is indeed one for all, or a kind of race where everybody is?
You can bear with me that to a given extent, the APC have organized themselves, and that is because, I'm saying that because they've cleared the air on where the presidential ticket is going, to the south. Having known that, anybody in the south that feels fit and able should run for presidency. So I think Ngige, as a person, have shown his intent to run for presidency. But I listened to his declaration and the speech he was making. you don't declare your intention to run and then also shoot yourself on the feet, trying to also discredit the government you belong to. That is where I really didn't like it. It would have just ended at having intentions to run. We've seen some likely southern Nigerians in the APC that have declared to run, and they've put their drive on the national content. They have put their drive on developing on what the present administration had built on. So you don't go to public like what Wike is doing. It's similarly what Ngige was doing, talking about changing the economy. It means that you are being in an economy, in a system where the economy had gone deteriorated. You want to now bring it back. It's already a defeatist statement. So I think this is right to run. Every Nigerian can run. Mostly that the party had ceded to the South. It gives them lots of freedom and rights to run for the presidency. But I think everything they've done, this election, 2020, even at the primary level, what would dictate their winning will basically be what they've put into power. They are the government in power. And amongst them, the people that have stood out in terms of infrastructure, policy, and otherwise, nation building, those are the people that will emerge. It will filter down. The delegates that will come to win, the primaries in the APC will be tough because there are calibers of persons that...
How can the electorates come in here to I'm not sure how to put this now, bring some level of sanity? You cannot run because we have seen your pedigree. This is the little state you were given to run. You've not done fantastic in this state, so you cannot run. How can the electorate ensure? Because Nigeria's political political process is one that the electorates are made to rely on the party's gimmicks, gimmicks for who emerges, and unfortunately,
no electorate. Let's put it on record. No electorate can ask any willing and able aspirant to stop running. What the electorate can do is to stop him emerging as a candidate at all levels. Today, as I'm here, I can declare in this studio that I want to become the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nobody can stop me. However, that should also go in line with what the party I'm choosing to run, is saying. So if the party have said powers should shift to the South, and Ngige declaring, it's his rights, his fundamental rights to do that. And he has done it. However, what comes to play is the electorate begins to check his antecedents. While he was governor, while he's minister, on national issues, on state issues, on regional issues, down to his local government issues. These antecedents will be placed on the table for assessment, making him emerge or go down from the seat. So they say the party, the APC is very clear to their stance on this. So nobody is preventing anybody from running.
However, where I'm going really is a filtering system with the tickets or forms being so expensive. That already has filtered off some people who might have that pedigree that we want. Whatever blueprints that you might have, you already know you cannot measure up and pay those amounts of money for
the presidential ticket.
The presidential ticket and the election process. You understand what it takes to do consultations. You already understand in Nigeria, you don't come saying, hello, I want to run. There are a lot that comes in it. A lot of people have also said it's part of our culture. You can't take it away. You must come with a bottle of wine to do consultation.
Yes, in as much as, yes.
The political parties now sit at a place where they decide to them, in their calculation, who best can clinch this ticket. Do those people not necessarily represent the feelings of the people?
Yes, I want to agree
because
with you.
Because at the end of the day, we are voting those people that political parties have sat down to
I agree with you. I want to agree with you that, yes, the costs for politics in our country is still very high. But at the level of presidency, like you rightly said, things need to filter itself. It will not be too exposed such that Tom, Dick, and Harry can assert to become a presidential aspirant, not even talking about candidates, in a political system. So it's a level where so many things are determined. So I think, in my own opinion, I think that the political parties do that, put that strings to uphold or to hold on to persons that you must be also capable. Because becoming a flag bearer in a party, it means a whole lot of expenditure. Right. So let the party not bring up somebody that cannot
not
actually...
Intellectual.
Yes, we are now talking about the financial dependency now. I think that's what we are. So the party alone cannot, at that time, run the financial expenditure of you emerging as a candidate. Right. And there are so many ways now funds could be raised to run election. So the first thing is for you to have the ability, and then you're willing to do that. When that is ascertained, your capability will show people around you, and funds can be raised to support your elections. Just
before I got into the studio, information got to me that the APC National Executive Committee meeting that held today, I'm not sure if it's completely concluded. However, news has reached us that the committee meeting has ruled out consensus and has decided to pick indirect primaries. What does that mean for the primaries we are going to see? Is it going to be as usual? Are we going to see those bags of money that usually go from one delegate to the other?
Well,
or there's going to be some level of sanity in our political process?
Well, what I would have really kicked against is the APC to have settled for consensus. I want to thank the leadership and the neck of the APC to have even, if the story is true, to have even settled for indirect, because seemingly the expenditure level for a direct primaries, and then when you do direct primaries, it's influenced by state chapters. So they are going to have indirect primaries, which to me, within these three options, is best. With reasons being that it means everybody is going to converge at the center and choose who becomes their flag bearer. That is the implication. Secondly, there will be room for lobbying, easy lobbying of aspirants. So it makes it a little bit easy. And then thirdly, it takes away lots of conflicts that would have arisen for bringing more people up,
right,
yet getting those results from states and all of that. You know that from one point to the other, results change their status. So
I don't know that.
Yes, okay, I'm telling you that as a young politician.
So I should expect that the result that leaves a certain place in transportation.
Joy, it amazes me that you say you don't know all these things, but that's not the contest. I'm applauding the APC to have settled for indirect primaries because its advantages are more compared to the consensus. When you do consensus, the aggrieved parties might even decide to pretentiously leave the system, or even they're in the system, they will now become what they call insiders that spoils the deal of the political party. But when you do a sincere, free and fair indirect primaries where delegates come together, allow free and fair access to delegates from various states, and then do their campaign, their lobby, and then they can come up with a very strong candidate at the end of the day, a flag bearer, and other aspirants will obviously see that they have run for the election, and they have satisfaction to have run for the primaries. I think it's best. I've never subscribed to consensus candidates, because whether I like it or not, at that point, that person might say, okay, I want to leave, I'm okay with it, but subsequently, it becomes an issue, and it's have a way it plays in the unsettled issues in the political party. So I think the indirect primaries is appropriate at this time, and we'll see how they get their ass right. Every aspirant will need to now begin to lobby around the state. Let's see through democratic process. Let's see people talk to delegates. Let's see people approach leaders to say,
come back, yes, to say yes.
We've heard as at yesterday. I think the two contending candidates of the APC, that's Asonye and the Minister of Transport, that's Amechi. I think they are really doing fantastically well, going around the political class to see how they can garner support for, and that is what democracy should be. I'm seeing any of these persons emerge as the flag bearers. I don't know, but
Okay, let's just take this last story before I let you go. You represent the youth constituency, and we're beginning to see brazen attacks in the southeast. A couple of days ago, we had read about the Imo State, that's Olu local government, I think, where a lot of people died, allegedly in a clash between the military and some people who were trying to impose that's the sit-at-home rule. However, these attacks are becoming brazen. This is the southeast was not usually this hot, volatile, so to speak. And a couple of days ago, a friend of mine that came in from the UK was kidnapped. And that's not just it. He was kidnapped while jogging. So he was kidnapped without his phone. And he was taken away for about 5 days, and they could not reach family. He was brought back by the kidnappers in broad daylight, asked to bring out his phone where monies were transferred to an account. And as somebody from the youth constituency, are you not concerned about where we are going with this? It's becoming very brazen. Yeah. What is happening?
It's been a great fight. It's been a great journey into insecurity. We have tried, and we are still trying our best. We have been in collaboration with security agencies. Security issues are not actually discussed, but I'm going to try my best to see how I can come on this topic. It's sad. It's sad, and I think most especially the leadership, the governors of the Southeast should make it a priority to see that they protect that zone. The military, I still repeat, for every interview I find myself, I repeat, the military are doing their best possible. It is only when they have a favorable collaboration with the political class in that region that this thing we're talking about.
But have you tried
in all the region?
Have you tried to sensitize or advocate? I'm not sure.
We like I told you, by Thursday or Friday or Saturday, we are doing a sensitization program in Kaduna to condemn those attacks on the rail system and all of that. We are doing that. We've also written a letter to the Plateau State governor, the one that happened in Plateau State. We are hoping to see him and have these sensitization programs. This has happened again. We are going around, we're trying our best. But look, until the political class, I still repeat it, the problem of insecurity is vested in the hands of the political class. Nobody should expect the president to put his full feet on it. They have the security arm of government to collaborate with, to solve the problem. It's not a presidential problem. It is an immediate and direct problem of the state, of the region, of our country. So until these political leaders, especially the governors, I heard they are the number one security personnel in the state. So this is where they come to play. All these persons perpetrating these vices in the various localities and areas are known. They are our brothers. They are our sisters. They are approachable. They are reachable. You can imagine where a kidnapper will bring his victim
to his home
to transact an exchange for even the victim, and it goes through a bank system, and nothing is done. Exactly. I think that's how porous this thing has been. I think we should, and we are trying to put our feet on ground to see how we can really help our country out of insecurity.
Comrade Duke Alamboye, it's always a pleasure to have you analyze these issues, these trending political issues in our country. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I hope to see you tomorrow when we have more to talk about. Thank you so much. We'll be right back after this short break to discuss more with our political analysts who would discuss zoning. Is it effective in our political journey? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sir, can you please give us the permission to search you? You can go.
Is this a movie? If it happened.
Officer, I beg carry and go station. When our Oga come, you come meet am for there.
Hey, Mr. Man, I cannot do that.
Tell your Oga to come to our station when he returns.
Am I in a movie? If it happen,
Mama, please.
Mama, please. Thank God you're here. Do the needful.
Mama, please, just 3 weeks
Madam,
now.
why did you invite us to come help chase your tenant now?
This is a civil matter now.
Is this a movie? If it happened,
If we follow
The new police law.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite. This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television Star Times Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, and UHF Channel 38.
Many thanks for staying with us here on ASO Radio and Television, where we are talking about zoning at this moment. A lot of people have asked that Nigeria's political journey has matured to a point where we can do away with zoning and look towards the pedigree and antecedents of contestants. Is that true? We'll be discussing all of that with Mr. Honorable John Enebeli. He's a political analyst and doubles as an aide to the Minister of Transportation. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Where do you stand? Should we scrap voting in our political journey or embrace it with all our heart, as our political maturity has not gotten to a point where we look at the candidate, we look at the antecedent, we look at what he has done over the years and his passion for the development of Nigeria?
Well, thank you for having me. What a very good question to ask at this point. The point is very clear. The political journey of Nigeria from 1966 to where we are now have clearly shown that you cannot do away with zoning at this particular time. As a country, we have not matured to the level where you make such offices open for everybody to contest. The reason being that if you followed the political state of this country, you understand what led to 1960 coup and whatever, and subsequent coups. You understand that for zoning is applied to pacify the less populated area. And now, but the most important thing is that it is a conventional norm. It is not inscribed into the Constitution. We felt that, if a particular area have held power for 8 years, the normal 2 terms in the Constitution, that naturally it is proper you take the power to this other side in order to make, for the purpose of equity, fairness, and justice. The other zone that have not had the position will also have it. So the political class look at that and now felt that it is better to make it in that manner so that every zone will feel the impact of governance, to have produced at least a president. So with what we have now, it is the best form. That is even why in the states, most states have 3 senatorial districts. And also you have to make sure that the governors that emerges in these states come from each of those zones to make those persons who do not have the population to have the impact of governance, to feel among. that even if we don't have population, but we are concerned, the principle of equity, fairness, and justice has been applied, that we can also produce a president or a governor. So that is why the political class felt that it is proper that we zone. Now, let me take for an instance the political party I belong to, which is the APC. Now, these zoning formulas are applied to virtually the ruling parties, those who may have had the opportunity of producing president. Now, like my party now, you understand, we came in 2015.
Right.
You know, so by next year, the current tenure of this current president, he may have done 8 years.
Right.
So it is naturally now that the next person that should come on board from the same party should be from the South. And that is why the leaders in APC, in their wisdom, they sat and said, okay, what are we going to do? Let us zone this to the South. Because they look at the principle of equity and fair play and justice, not like the other party. When I say the other party, I'm talking about the PDP that have decided to make their party open. So anybody from any zone can contest.
So in your opinion, where would Nigeria have gotten to before we can do away with zoning? Because it has trickled down to even local government and council elections where you were voted in from this side of the country, this side of the community, or the next community. Would we see that kind of environment where it no longer matters that anybody is from anywhere? You are sure that this person would equally distribute resources of government and ensure everybody, it trickles down to everybody and everybody enjoys the dividends of democracy?
Yeah, surely that time will come. But what we are facing now is not a situation where we should scrap zoning. Because first of all, every Nigerian is conscious of his or her tribe. Every Nigerian is conscious of his or her religion.
Isn't that what we should attack?
No, I'm coming. So that has hit deep into our memories as individuals and persons. So what you have now is a situation where, to some extent, we may have had these things zoned around the regions in the country to the satisfaction of everybody, and then the players will now come together. So at this time, I would think that we've done well in terms of development, in terms of anything you want to think about that we have done in the country now. So no region will now say, my region needs to come on board for us to also have a bite of the national cake.
Right.
Now, at that point, then it can be thrown open to say, okay, anybody from any part of the country can present yourselves based on what you have done, and we're looking at you to say, okay, if this person becomes the president, he or she would be able to do that. So at this time, my dear sister, my dear Joy, it will be unfortunate, because what we'll be thinking now, we'll be thinking that, a particular zone has the number that will outweigh the other side. And so when you throw it open in that manner, so what happened? That zone will begin to produce president all over and all over again, to the detriment of the other region that doesn't have that number.
Okay, let's talk about the journey so far. Would you say that a particular part of the country has necessarily benefited more by having presidents, for instance, that emerge from that area? Would you say that has happened?
No.
Because I'm from the South. I remember the agitations from the Southerners when the President Jonathan was in power. His administration was also characterized by a lot of agitations from South members who kept saying, you are not looking our way, you have been taken over by the North, and all those permutations at the time. Would you rather really say it has worked?
Now, let me tell you. You see, when I hear people talk about how many times have this particular zone held the office of president, whatever, I laugh. Because if you want to look at it critically, that means you need to refer back to 1966. And so when you begin to count from 1966 to date, you will know that a particular region have produced the president more than the other regions.
Right.
Whether military or civilian.
Have they necessarily been more developed than other?
No, that is the point. That is another question. But the question we're talking about now, have this region been able to produce president more than this other region? Of course, the answer is yes. Now, in terms of development, have they been able to develop more than this other region? The answer is no. Do you get the point now? Right. So that question, that bulk question should not be directed to us. Rather, it should be directed to people who have led the country as at that time and have refused to develop those regions.
So it's no longer a problem of who emerges in any region. It's a problem of the right person that comes for Nigeria. So if you have to tell us right now what we should start seeing in Nigeria to make us understand, oh, Nigeria is ripe for us to do away with zoning and open, just like the PDP has done. Everybody can emerge from any part of the country. What would you say you would like to see in Nigeria that will give you that kind of confidence?
Like I said, if you listen to my initial statement, until the time that we would have done this, every region may have produced. Now, let me tell you, the Southeast has not produced president in this country.
Exactly.
So it is their right. It is their fundamental human right to ask for it, to seek for it. Now, the manner at which they will seek for it is what we do not know. But that region needs to also be respected in terms of producing president. So probably after this time that has been zoned to the south, we don't know where it is going, but we know that candidates are actually coming out to run for the office, and they will begin to look at what are their criteria, what have they been able to achieve. If they have held public offices, we'll look at that. If they are in private organizations, we'll look at them. What have they been able to achieve? What have they done for the communities? Now, these are the things you look into. And now, the candidate that may have done much for the people are the such persons that you are allowed to for the office of the president.
Well, let's move away a little from the political scene and talk about, would there be chaos if federal character is scrapped? Because I personally think if we have to start loving the nation collectively, I don't care about this person coming from any part of the country, he's my brother. Funny thing is, a lot of my friends in diaspora would always say that when you meet a familiar face abroad, the person is family. But when you are back home, it becomes, oh, he's from the north, he's from the east. Now, if we scrap the federal character structure that we already have, do you think there will be chaos just to force in us that love of nation and not care about where anybody comes from, but what the person has to bring?
You know, like I said earlier, those are some of the things you look in and you discover that you cannot scrap them away. That is why I said that we as individuals, Nigerians, religion, tribalistic, have eaten deep into us. So whatever you do, like I read about training analysis about human beings. They said there are the idiots, there are the tribesmen, and there are the citizens. Do you get it? So when you go through all that, you will now discover that we are the idiots. Because we feel that everything we need to do, it must be people from our own place. They must be the people you developed. They must be the people you give contract to. They are the people, anything at all you're looking at, they are not the true Nigerians. So first of all, we must develop from this first to the second, and when you get to the third, the stakes man. That's when you now feel that, look, you owe this country your best. You are not looking at yourself as somebody let me tell you, somebody who is from London and River State. You are seeing yourself as a Nigerian. Do you get the point now? So until we get to that stage...
I guess I'm just trying to ask, how do we move to that stage?
That is the point I'm making. Now, we'll keep trying. You know, politics we're in a learning process. We'll keep trying until we get to a stage where we will see that, okay, like as you said now, if you travel out of the country, you see your fellow Nigerian. She or she is your brother or your sister. Now, but when you come back, that feeling of, oh, I'm a Muslim comes in. That feeling, oh, I'm a Christian comes in. And now you are no longer free without your brother or your sister in your own country. Now, but let me tell you, all those things are things that have happened in other countries until they get to where they are. They've had their own internal political crisis that they need to develop, and they have developed it. What we are doing now, we are in a learning process. We are trying to develop the political system of Nigeria, and until we get to that level, now this thing we're talking about now will not come to play.
Okay, we are running out of time, so I'll just ask you, this surge of aspirants, it seems like everybody wants to become the president of Nigeria. Is it good for our democracy or not?
Of course it's good. That's why people are coming out. You can see that the door is open. One thing you can be sure of, that the present government has been able to open that door for everybody to aspire. That is why you are seeing too many people coming out to say they want to be president. And we all wish them well. But the point is that we'll look at these individuals critically, to look at their resume, what they have done, if they are in public or private sector, then Nigerians will decide.
Is it not confusing? Like, you know, when you think that, for instance, the South where you come from, almost all the governors are at the moment aspiring to be president, except I think Delta State, who has not declared at the moment. Is it not confusing for Southerners who would say, let's put our small weight on this person and push forward, if indeed we do not have that equity of the distribution of resources? Why don't we come together, put our weight? We don't have the numbers. Why don't we come together, put our weight?
No, first of all, every Nigerian of adulthood have the constitutional rights, especially those who are governors already. So they have the constitutional rights. Age-wise, they've made the qualification. Academically, they've gotten it. So it is their right to aspire. We're talking about aspiration. It is their right to aspire. And then it's also the right of Nigerians to decide whether this man who is aspiring, should I vote for him, should I pick him or not. But at that level, anybody can aspire. Remember, you cannot take only one man to a football field. Just like as you say, you cannot have a critical football match where you have Ronaldo and Messi and you don't put them in the pitch to play. So what you are seeing among the governors who are coming out, as I say, if it is not you, it will be me.
Right.
Do you get it? So that is why you are seeing a lot of them jumping into the race. So we wish all of them well. But for my party, which is the APC, I know that we will get it right this time. Very well. And Nigerians will be glad that who the party will choose at the end of the day is going to transform this country.
Honorable, I would like to know what the party has done that's making you so confident that you're getting it right this time. For some of us who are commentators from afar, we say it's, as usual, it's how it's been played out.
Well, if you followed the development stride of the present government, vis-a-vis looking at the ministries and the ministers, what they have done in their ministries, you will know. It's just that the problem we have is that most of the ministries have not been able to publicize the achievement they have done as ministers. That is the major. I think and I know that the ministers have done incredibly well in terms of managing their ministries.
Right.
And now let me take, for an example, the Minister of Transportation, the Minister, Chibikeru Tobiamichi. He has done incredibly well. Now, if you followed several governments in this country, I don't think you've heard anything about the Minister of Transport the way it's being had now. I don't think. Right. With so much money that is coming into that ministry, foreign investment that is coming, I don't think you had that kind of information. But what we have now, every now and then, what we're hearing is what is going on in transportation, especially with special reference to rail line. And I can show you that the moment this government, APC, comes on board in 2023, virtually all the states in this country will be connected with rail line.
It has to be when the government comes on board. I should expect the structures down.
That's what I'm getting. The structures are on ground. We are not a government that will that will sign only on paper, and money comes, and those things will not even be on board.
Thank you so much, Honorable Enebeli. This has been a
me.
fantastic
conversation. Thank you for having me.
This is where we draw the curtains here on Afternoon Edition. Until tomorrow when we come back, have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.